This happened 2 years ago, when I was working for a very large carpet cleaning company. It's exactly what you'd expect. I'd spend the whole workday going from house to house, completely deep cleaning the residents' carpets with a lot of different tools and machinery. I was 22 and a female. I'm actually pretty sure I was one of the only females working for this company. But at the same time, I really enjoyed it. And if I'm being honest, I was actually really good at the job. So, because of this, I was given a lot of work, and would usually hit between 6 to 8 houses daily, driving all across multiple towns. This night, I was working late, as one of the houses I cleaned earlier in the day took way longer than expected, which of course sent me back the rest of the day. I'd say it was around 7 p.m. when I had one house left to do for the day. Though, upon arrival at the given address, I quickly realized it was in the middle of nowhere. And after knocking on the front door, I also realized no one was home. I was annoyed, yeah, but realistically I was the one that was late for the appointment. I decided to wait until someone came home, as I knew I'd get chewed out by my boss if I left without cleaning anything. And luckily, 10 minutes later, the resident pulled up next to my van. He was a middle-aged man, balding, wearing dirty shorts and a jacket. He honestly seemed a bit awkward, but was apologetic and let me into his house with all my needed equipment. Upon entering, I instantly realized the carpet and just the house in general was already unbelievably clean. I mean, it even smelled like cleaning supplies had just been used. To be honest, it was a little weird. I wasn't used to seeing already clean carpets upon arrival. I was genuinely questioning whether me cleaning them would even make a difference. But regardless, I followed protocol and pulled out my company laptop to calculate how much it was going to cost before starting. "Hey, do they keep track of where you are on that thing?" His question caught me off guard. That was an immediate red flag. After the initial shock from the question, I replied saying that it did, and that my boss knew exactly how long each job should take. In reality, this was a complete lie. The laptop was literally just used to run a program that can calculate how much to charge a customer based on the inputted amount of work. But I felt like I had to lie, as there was definitely something off about this guy. Regardless, I started cleaning. I just figured the quicker I could clean these carpets, and the quicker I could get out of here and call it a day. Fast forward around an hour later, and I was finished. I hastily met up with the guy to explain I was done, and how much he owed me. But before I could, he interrupted me. He asked me if I could also clean his basement carpets, as he forgot to list them when he ordered the service. My heart literally dropped. I just wanted to be done with this and get out of here. But my stupid customer service conditioned brain couldn't figure out how to get away with saying no. The guy led me to his basement door, opened it, and gave me a hand signal as if to gesture that I was to go down first. I hesitated, but ultimately I did. Once I got to the bottom, I was horrified. The basement looked horrible compared to the rest of the house. Not only was it unfinished with no carpet whatsoever, but there were clearly 7 deep freezers lining the walls. In the middle of the room was a lit, low-hanging ceiling light revealing an old television set, VHS tapes scattered all over the floor, and an old recliner facing the TV. Behind the set were 2 white shelves full of VHS tapes. The whole while I'm looking at the basement, the guy stood at the top of the steps blocking the doorway with a disturbing smile on his face. I looked up at him and said, yeah man, let me go get my stuff." With absolutely no intention of cleaning anything, I just wanted to get out of there. I held my breath and began to walk back up the stairs. The whole while, all I could hear was my own heartbeat in my ears. But as I got to about the 3rd stair from the top, the guy was still blocking the door, with still that disturbing smile on his face. I stood there for maybe 20 seconds, just looking at the guy, waiting for him to get out of the way, when I swear I could hear footsteps in the basement behind me. Out of pure instinct and adrenaline, without even looking back, I charged towards the guy in front of me. Luckily, I was able to break past him, and right as I did, I beelined it out of the front door and into my van parked outside. I was leaving thousands of dollars of cleaning equipment behind. But honestly, in that moment, I didn't care. I legitimately felt like my life was in danger. As I was pulling away, I glanced back at the house one last time, and I saw the same man looking out one of the windows, now with no smile on his face, but rather a cold, hard stare. I thought I could see another person, but I honestly don't know. The whole memory is sort of just a blur. The truth of the matter is that my boss would not have noticed I was missing for at least 24 hours when I didn't show up for my shift the next day. The next morning, I would call my boss, tell him everything, and ultimately quit that very day. As far as I know, they got the police involved, but I try to distance myself from the whole situation, so I really don't know what ended up happening. I suffered PTSD over this experience. That day still haunts me, and to this day, I can't explain what I found in that basement or the sounds of footsteps I thought to have heard behind me. But one thing's for certain. I believe that man, and whoever else was there, had planned to kill me that night for some sick reason or another. I've always really liked chat rooms. I think they're a really great place to be able to meet new people and be social online. Since I've always been a pretty introverted person, chat rooms have helped me meet some of my closest friends, where I wouldn't have to deal with the awkwardness of actually going out and talking to new people. So, when I discovered Discord, I thought it would be the perfect place to make more friends and just overall meet new people. I joined a few random Discord servers from this website that featured random Discord server lists. I would spend hours upon hours scouring the 20-something servers I joined. I was pretty active and even met a few cool people along the way. But this is where things got really disturbing. One night, I was on Discord as usual, sending memes and gifs to this guy I met. I can't remember his username, but what I do remember is a random invite popping up in the corner of my screen. It said I'd been invited to a server with a name I couldn't pronounce. It wasn't in English, or even any language I could recognize for that matter. It was a little strange. The picture icon was some sort of cartoon character I had never heard of, nor seen before. It was a face, deep purple in color with these frightening, realistic crimson red eyes. It was a little unsettling if I'm being honest. Though I was drawn in at this point. I hovered my mouse over the accept button and eventually clicked it. The page loaded straight away, and I was in the server. The thing that struck me immediately was that there was only one Discord room on the whole server. I clicked into it, and as soon as I did, I was instantly spammed with mentions. One of the messages simply added my username, but the one under it really caught my attention. It said that in order to be able to properly accept me into the circle, they would need the following. And the message proceeded to list out some very disturbing items, one even including a jar of actual blood. It said to leave all the items outside my front door and they'll be collected. The next message told me to have the offerings prepared by midnight tomorrow. They literally used the word offerings. At this point, I was a little more than disturbed and didn't respond to the messages. Though, at the same time, I felt it was more than likely just some sort of prank. So I left the server, logged off, and didn't think about it for the rest of the night. A few weeks had passed without incident. That was until I got home from work late one night to notice my front door was unlocked. Though, I reasoned I just forgot to lock it as I was in a rush earlier in the morning. I quickly forgot about it and got on my computer like every other night browsing the web. But this time, when I turned on my computer, I noticed I had a Discord message. It was a private message from one of those people from that disturbing Discord server I left weeks ago. I have no idea how this message was even sent, as I had private messaging set to only accept messages from people on my friends list, and this guy obviously wasn't listed as one of my friends. I noticed there were actually two messages. The first stated I had failed to present my offering, and the second literally threatened my life. My heart started racing. "This isn't funny anymore, please leave me alone," I messaged back. But right after I hit send, I regretted it. I should have just ignored it like last time. In a panic, I unplugged my computer and tried to slow my rapid heartbeat. I realized how shallow my breathing was and how tight my chest felt. A few minutes passed, and I thought it would be best to just go to sleep and get my mind off of whatever just happened. But I laid in bed for hours. I couldn't sleep. It was close to 4 a.m. at this point. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the face of that cartoon icon. Again, I began to think it was just a prank somebody was pulling. But how these people found my account to invite me to the server in the first place still didn't make any sense, or even how they messaged me when they weren't on my friends list. I was again questioning if whoever these people were had actually shown up to my house to check for the so-called offerings, and if so, how they would have gotten my address. Though, all these thoughts were instantly drowned out by the heart-dropping sound of rustling coming from my closet. This wasn't the sound of something that could be easily explained, as it was a continuous rustling sound. I was literally frozen in my bed. But once I had actually grasped the severity of the situation, I grabbed my phone off the nightstand and full-on sprinted out of my room and outside. I would have ran to my neighbor's house, though my neighborhood is so spread out that the nearest neighbor was over a half-mile away, with nothing but forest in between. All I could do was stand outside on the street, looking up at my bedroom window as I frantically dialed 911. It took about 10 minutes for 2 officers to pull up. I told them about what exactly had happened, and I went inside with them as they searched the house. One of the officers went downstairs, while I followed the other upstairs. We checked the closet, but nothing. Just then, we heard shouting from downstairs followed by a gunshot and shrieks of pain. The officer next to me charged downstairs in response to find a dirty-looking man, maybe mid-30s, laying on the ground with a gunshot wound in his leg. This guy had a gun, and that resulted in the other officer shooting him in the leg. They instantly put him in custody and called for an ambulance. I was highly shook up after that encounter. This guy must have somehow unlocked my door and hidden in my house all day. First in my closet, and then when I ran out of the house, assuming I'd called the cops, he attempted to hide in my basement. Now, whether this guy had anything to do with that Discord server, I still don't know to this day. But getting a death threat message the same day someone broke into my house with a gun and hid in my closet can't be a coincidence. Either way, I'm never using Discord again.